She thought she was standing up for what's right, but one spray of pepper spray, one calm man in a MAGA hat, and a single word, general, flipped her world upside down. What started as a latte run turned into a viral scandal she'll never forget. Stick around to see how one mistake changed everything. Comments below, where are you watching from? And if you like and love our story, kindly subscribe our channel, Life Inspirational and Motivational Tales that explore themes of love, unity, and patriotism. Stay with us always for interesting stories. Let's start the story. The sun was shining brightly over a bustling coffee shop patio, where the scent of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the warm breeze. Among the crowd, a woman named Linda Harper pulled her oversized SUV into the parking lot with a sharp turn, as though she were staking her claim on the space. Linda, a 38-year-old self-proclaimed guardian of propriety, thrived on her morning routine: a soy latte, a little browsing, and, if the opportunity presented itself, a chance to correct someone she believed was out of line. As she stepped onto the patio, latte in hand, her eyes immediately locked onto a figure seated near the corner. A man, likely in his early 60s, was sipping coffee and flipping through a newspaper. But it wasn't the man himself that drew her ire. It was the bold red MAGA hat perched on his head, the words, "Make America Great Again," gleaming under the sunlight. For Linda, the hat was an affront, a symbol of everything she thought was wrong with the world, and in her mind, it was her duty to confront it. She marched past his table, her heels clicking with determination, but her annoyance bubbled over before she could take her seat. Spinning around, she faced him, her voice loud enough to turn heads. "Seriously, you have the nerve to wear that here?" The man looked up, his expression calm but curious. "Excuse me," he said politely. "Do we know each other?" Linda scoffed, her cheeks flushed with indignation. "Oh, I don't need to know you to know you're part of the problem," she snapped. "That hat says everything." The man, who was in fact retired General James Williams, raised an eyebrow but didn't lose his composure. "It's just a hat, ma'am," he replied evenly. "Maybe you should take a moment to think before judging strangers." His calm response only fanned Linda's anger. Her voice rose, and she gestured wildly as she declared, "A hat? Do you even know what that represents? People like you are the reason this country is falling apart." James leaned back in his chair, his tone steady as ever. "Lady, I'm just here trying to enjoy my coffee. Maybe you should try doing the same." The casual dismissal sent Linda into overdrive. "Ignore me? That's what people like you always do," she shouted, her flailing arms drawing the attention of other customers. Phones discreetly began recording as the tension on the patio grew thicker. James sighed, reaching for his newspaper. "I'm not here to argue with you," he said, clearly hoping to de-escalate the situation. But Linda wouldn't let it go. "Oh, now you're ignoring me? Typical." Her voice dripped with mockery as she glared at him. The crowd was captivated by the unfolding drama, some whispering amongst themselves while others tried to stifle laughter at Linda's antics. Then, as if a light bulb went off in her mind, Linda reached into her oversized handbag. She pulled out a bright orange canister of pepper spray, raising it with a theatrical flourish. The entire patio collectively gasped. "For everyone you've ever oppressed," Linda declared, her voice ringing out dramatically. Without a second thought, she pressed the button, releasing a sharp mist directly into James's face. The retired general recoiled, letting out a pained cry as he dropped his coffee and stumbled backward. His hands flew to his eyes as he tried to wipe away the sting, but it was no use. "What the... James choked, his voice hoarse from the burning. The patio erupted into chaos. Some customers rushed to James's aid while others fumbled to record the scene on their phones. A barista sprinted outside with a bottle of water, kneeling beside James as he sat on the ground, his face bright red and streaming with tears. Linda stood triumphantly, as though she'd just delivered justice. "You all saw it," she shouted, spinning dramatically to address the crowd. "He provoked me. I had no choice." But the crowd wasn't buying it. "Are you out of your mind?" someone shouted. "He was literally just sitting there." Linda turns toward the voice, her tone icy. "Oh, sure, defend the guy in the hat. Typical." The disbelief in the crowd was palpable. Whispers of "unreal" rippled through the audience as one patron called 911. Linda, oblivious to the shifting tide, pulled out her phone to call the police herself. "Hello, officers," she said, her voice dripping with self-righteousness. "I'm at the coffee shop on Main Street. There's a dangerous man harassing me." Minutes later, the sound of sirens cut through the tension. 2 police cruisers pulled up, and uniformed officers stepped onto the patio. One officer took one look at James, still dabbing his face with a damp napkin, and frowned. "What's going on here?" he asked, his gaze shifting between Linda and James. Linda wasted no time. "That man threatened me," she declared, pointing a finger at James. "I had to defend myself." The officer's expression darkened as he turned at James. But before he could say anything, his partner stepped closer, his eyes widening in recognition. "Wait a second," the second officer said. "Is that General Williams?" Having amplified his concerns, he felt a sense of dread. "I'm anxious to tell James." Linda blinked, her confidence flickering. "General who?" The officer ignored her, addressing James directly. "Sir, I didn't recognize you at first. Are you all right?" James, still coughing slightly, nodded. "I'll live," he said, his voice hoarse but steady. "But this woman attacked me for no reason." Linda's jaw dropped. "Attacked? No, I didn't know you were someone important." James's piercing gaze silenced her. "And that's supposed to make it better?" he asked coldly. "Tell me, do you attack everyone who disagrees with you? Or am I just special?" The patio was silent, except for the faint hum of a phone still recording. Linda stammered, her bravado crumbling. "I thought—" "That's the problem," James interrupted. "You didn't think. You acted out of ignorance and arrogance, and now you're trying to justify it." One of the officers stepped forward. "Ma'am, I'm going to need to see some ID," he said, his tone firm. Linda hesitated, glancing nervously at the crowd, but there was no sympathy in their faces. Trembling, she handed over her ID. After a quick glance, the officer sighed and pulled out a pair of handcuffs. "You're under arrest for assault." The words hit Linda like a thunderclap. "Assault? No, you don't understand. He provoked me." A voice from the crowd shot back, "Yeah, by drinking coffee. Real dangerous." As Linda was escorted to the police car, scattered applause and laughter broke out on the patio. James, now standing with the help of the barista, watched quietly. "Would you like to press charges?" one officer asked him. James considered for a moment before shaking his head. "No need," he said. "I think she's learned her lesson." Within hours, videos of the incident went viral. Linda's dramatic outburst, her pepper spray attack, and the revelation that her victim was a retired general spread like wildfire. By the end of the day, Linda had lost her job, her reputation, and any semblance of privacy. Meanwhile, James became an unlikely hero. His calm response to Linda's chaos resonated with viewers across the country. In interviews, he spoke not of revenge, but of reflection. "We live in a time where people act before they think," he said. "If nothing else, I hope this reminds people to pause and consider their actions." The coffee shop, now dubbed General Williams' Spot, became a local landmark. And Linda? She learned the hard way that not every battle is hers to fight, especially when she's the one lighting the fire. Have you ever witnessed or experienced a moment that completely flipped your perspective? Share your thoughts in the comments below and tell us your real-life stories. We'd love to hear how you handled situations like this and what lessons they taught you. Join the conversation. Comments below, where are you watching from? And if you like and love our story, kindly subscribe our channel, Life Inspirational and Motivational Tales that explore themes of love, unity, and patriotism. Stay with us always for interesting stories.